Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another week of 2-point conversion. And it's a very exciting week here at 2-point conversion. We got Giants. We got Jets playing for the Battle of Metlife, baby.
Next week, I can't wait to turn on the stream. I don't care if it's copyright. I don't care what James says in the back. We're playing back in the New York groove. The G-men are getting the W. Let's go Big Blue.
So Nico, there's a lot to get into here, and we'll cover it all. Nico did an excellent job with the outline this week. I contributed a little bit. We got injury reports. We got all the stats from how the teams have been doing the whole season, the past couple games. So definitely stay tuned with us this week. If you're interested in this game, if you want to get a feel for how we think it's going to unravel, you definitely got to pay attention today because we got a lot of information to get at you today, folks. But the bigger kind of picture here is that not last week's show, the week before, I said that I thought the Jets would beat the Giants and then go on to win the 2 games after that. Well, Nico, they surprised me, shocked the world. Beat the Eagles last week, 2 weeks ago, coming off a bye, rested up, trying to get healthy. Giants coming off a big win against the Commanders, second win on the season. Defense has shown up the past 2 weeks for the Giants. I'm so excited to get into it. We got a lot to get to today, folks.
One third of the way till my bet with John putting on the Jets jersey. I'm scared, but my Giants are going to pull through for me. I honestly, I'm not even saying this because I'm biased. I honestly think they can do it.
I don't know where to think. I don't know what to think, Nico.
Well, we'll talk about it, and then we'll see what your thoughts are at the end.
Okay, because I'm feeling super mixed, super conflicted right now. If you would ask me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Jets, no doubt. I did say Jets, no doubt. But now, after the defensive clinic the Giants put on last week, I don't know. I'm torn. I don't want to go back on my prediction, but I'm torn.
Listen, the tail of the take right here is going to be injuries. It is, especially on the Giants side. The Jets are a little bit less are a little bit less. They have a lot of people coming back, but the Giants are. I feel like it's Dayball's fault because he tries to play the mind games of like questionable and non-questionable. We have 6-7 players questionable that weren't last week, and I don't know if he's trying to play the the strategy game or like genuinely get his fans scared.
But overall, take us through the injury report. We are getting healthier though, right?
Yeah. So
it's trending up for us.
So it's trending upwards. So we'll start off with Daniel Jones. Obviously, he's still questionable with his neck injury, but he did not practice. He's still not cleared to practice. Maybe he practices today. I don't know. The report's not out yet. But even if he practices today, I don't see it being a high contact practice. He's most likely not going to play. In my opinion, he most likely won't play. We'll see Tyrod Taylor. And on the line, obviously, John Michael Schmidt and Andrew Thomas are both questionable. But yesterday, they were limited in practice. So they're up in the air for me.
Okay, that's good to see, though, at least getting some practice reps in. It's been a while for Andrew Thomas.
A Wednesday limited practice is a good sign, especially since they do have today's practice. And we'll see what happens there. Maybe they're upwards and they are put into contact. And then that's a clear sign that they might play, bearing any setbacks.
Okay.
On the other side, Randall Cobb and Mekhi Beckham are both questionable. They did not practice yesterday, and I'm not too certain on what's going to happen with them. Did not practice. Again, we don't know what today's practice is going to bring. Big news for the Jet fans out there. Sauce Gardner, questionable last week with a concussion. Obviously, he missed that Eagles game. Full participant in practice, contact. He will play against the Giants.
Okay, all right.
So what I was talking to you about before is the Brian Daboll kind of strategy, I guess, play. There are reports out there with and officially on the Giants website, Kayvon Thibodeau is questionable with a knee. Saquon is out with that elbow that he kind of lodged in the middle of last game.
Yeah.
Darren Waller hamstring again. Adoree Jackson, who we did see leave the game with a neck injury. This is all on the Giants official website. Maybe strategy. Maybe they're just questionable and limited in practice, but they're practiced today.
Yeah, Darren Waller's had this hamstring for almost the whole season now, but it didn't seem to slow him down last week. He had his best game in a Giants uniform and finally caught his first touchdown, which was pretty hype. That was a good throw by Tyrod, and it ended up being the difference. The Giants win by a touchdown there. Game went down to the wire. The Commanders had an opportunity on fourth and about 4th and mid, about 4th and 5, 4th and 7, something like that. About 4th and mid to get the first down, keep the game alive. Giants defense was able to shut him down. But really exciting to see Darren Waller. No drops, looked like that old Raiders Darren Waller, the guy that we traded for, the big target, the sure hands. That's
Yeah, I
what
mean,
that's what you love about the
I mean,
guy.
see his 300. He's top receiver on the Giants roster right now, 384 yards, touchdown, 10.5 yards per reception, which is good for tight ends. It's up there within wide receiver level of reception yards.
Yeah, it's
So that's
solid.
great. But I really think that what's important this week, in regards to last week, I feel like the Commanders are a way different team. They do have a strong defense like the Jets do, but not on the same level at all. And I think that this game is going to be a defensive game through and through. I mean, both defenses, the Giants are coming off hot defensive weeks back with the
Mhm.
Bills and the Commanders. The Jets, their defense is showing why they're supposed to be the best defense in the league. And according to their, stats, I mean, they're top 10, top 5 in almost every and in the majority of categories.
Nico, does it surprise you that the Giants defense has been the unit to show off for the Giants these past 2 weeks, especially with an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Dable? Like, what do you think it was a locker room speech, a wink laying into those guys, or maybe they just started getting comfortable together? Like, what do you
Yeah,
think's
I
going on
mean,
with the
you do
defense there?
see, there were some additions on the offensive side, especially the linebacker side and the corners.
Mhm.
Uh, we did pick up Bobby Okereke. Isaiah Simmons is new to the locker room as well, and the rookie Deontay Banks. I mean, it takes a while for these players to like get acclimated to their environment.
Yeah, that's a guy you should touch on, Nico. You got some good
Oh yeah,
stats
we're gonna
for
talk about it. I want to go through the offense
you wanna do
first.
offense first? Okay.
Yeah, let's go through offense first, just
The
because I think
not
that
as exciting area for these
yeah, let's
teams,
get it
but
over with.
we'll get through the offense here.
It's both teams' weak points without a doubt. I mean, we'll start with the Jets. Like Jets offensive rankings, they're 30 ranked in yards. They have average about 22 points a game, which is no, they're 22nd in points per game. Sorry, with 18 points. They're dead last in third down conversion rate, dead last in passing yards, dead last in red zone scoring percentage. I mean, the Giants also have a bad red zone scoring percentage, but it is better than the Jets. The one thing that has worked for the team is the run game. I mean,
Yeah,
the run game might not always work, but it has been working for them. Brees Hall coming off that injury, 426 yards.
he's a
He's
dog,
he's
man. I
averaging
mean,
six and a
he's
half
such a
yards per
dog.
carry. That's number one. Number two in the NFL. Sorry, Chris McCaffrey, I think averages more. Um,
He's such a dog. I mean, he was on pace last year to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Went out with that ACL injury. His teammate Garrett Wilson ends up winning it. And man, like Brees Hall's coming out this year, like he's got something to prove. Like he's only in his second year. He's 23 years old, putting the team on his back. 22 years old, putting the team on his back. So for a young guy, he runs
especially with
aggressive.
the
Yeah,
veteran backfield in which they have, like they have they have Dalvin Cook who
yeah. Brought in Dalvin Cook.
only has 100 yards rushing on the season. They barely used him. I feel like he gets like maybe
The
10
Dalvin
5% of
Cook
the touches.
experiment is not really working in New York, but it's hard. I mean, it's tough for him. The offense isn't clicking. If the offense was clicking in the passing game, maybe he'd get more opportunities. Maybe it would force the defense to pay more attention to the pass. Right now, what Brees Hall is doing is so impressive from my point of view because you just listed all these numbers here. It's straight up. You can't argue it. The Jets stink at passing the ball. You can't argue it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You could say maybe that Zach Wilson has been getting a little bit better, but the stats don't lie. The Jets are dead last in passing. So for the defenses to load the boxes, know that the Jets are going to run it, and they still can't stop Brees Hall, that's impressive. That's impressive to me. That says a lot about the guy. Um, and I've been excited to see him perform this year. I'm interested to see what the Giants do to attempt to slow him down.
Because we do
Um,
know the Giants' defensive line isn't the best. I mean, they're pretty good at pass block as we saw last year, or pass pressure as we saw last year, but the run pressure is just really not there. But these linebackers, which we'll talk about in the defensive segment, they might be able to do it. I mean, these linebackers on both sides of the ball,
oh yeah,
on both sides of the field this week are dangerous and maybe the two best linebacker duo in the entire league. So we'll talk about the leading receiving yards for the Jets. Obviously, Garrett Wilson, stud, rookie of the year. 2 touchdown passes, 11.5 yards per reception, which is, not too bad. But like comparing it to Darren Wallace, 10.5 as a tight end, it's different. But I mean, that's kind of what I got for the Jets. Not great offensive numbers, not great pass numbers, good good run game, but obviously then they can't translate that to the red zone. I mean, scoring on 29% of their drives in the red zone is not a viable It's not a viable offense in
Yeah,
this
you
league,
don't win
especially
games that
not an
way.
offense that
You don't
has
win games that
yeah,
way.
especially not an offense. But they have been winning games based on their defense, which we'll talk about. The Giants' offense. I mean, we're going over the same things like the
Yeah.
Jets. Last in points per game, the worst QB sack percentage at 13%, bottom 10 in almost every single offensive category. Besides QB completion percentage, which with Daniel Jones and with Tyrod Taylor especially, they're ninth best completion percentage in the league. I mean, that is scheme, I believe. I mean, those check down passes do
Yeah,
add towards.
it hasn't been a ton of long shots. It's
I mean,
been
but we saw
short
last week,
passes.
Tyrod's been chucking the ball deep to
Yeah.
Hyatt and Slayton, and it's been working a little bit. And obviously that
Still would
long
like to
throw
see
to
we'll get to that in the
Waller.
offensive section, but yeah, go ahead.
So bottom 10 in almost every category, like I said. With the number, I would say the run game has been decent, but we can't base it off of what's been happening with the offensive line. Saquon, for a terrible offensive line and missing a bunch of games, 284 yards, it isn't terrible. I mean, he missed 3 games.
3 games, yep.
Yeah, so 3 games, 284 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 receiving touchdowns. That's not terrible for a running back with this offensive line, and especially being out for half the season so far. Like I said before, the leading receiving yards, Darren Waller, 384 yards, a touchdown, 10.5 yards per reception. I mean, we're seeing why we traded for this, why we picked up this guy, and honestly, I enjoy if we get him the ball in the red zone, he could do things. Put up the 50-50 balls, it's worth it.
I hope that last week game wasn't was a sneak peek to what we're going to get from Darren Waller. I need that kind of production week in and week out. I'd love to see the offense open up a little bit more and get him some more targets in the red zone. I mean, Jalen Hyatt's reception average right now is through the roof. It's insane. The guy beats cornerbacks. I'd love to see him get involved more. He's working his way into that third kind of receiver role as the season's been going along.
I mean, we're seeing the I'm going to sound biased here, which I am going to all show, and I think you will too. I like what I saw with Wandale. I like what I saw with
Wandale too. Yeah.
I like what I saw with who am I missing here?
I don't think you're missing anyone.
I'm missing Jalen Hyatt. I like what I saw on the
I
long
like
ball.
Wandale, Hyatt, and Waller. I don't like Hodgins and Shep so far this year. It has not been pretty.
Shep hasn't been used in the
He
capacity
muffed a
that we
punt
saw
last
last week, and the Giants did, pick up the
Special
next
teams,
day.
abysmal,
Yeah.
abysmal.
They did pick up a punt returner. I forgot his name. It's like Olszewski or something like that from the
Gunnar
Patriots.
Olszewski, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Patriots and I believe Steelers.
Yeah, last played for the Steelers, but you might remember him. He returned a punt return touchdown in a Jets game. It was 2 seasons ago. It was just a funny game. It was 3-3. Zach Wilson couldn't get the ball past the 50-yard line. Mac Jones couldn't get the ball past the 50-yard line. The Jets punt it, thinking that they'll get a fair catch and then just run the clock out, try and win it in overtime. And Gunnar takes it to the house. Patriots win on almost a walk-off punt return touchdown.
Is this a little bit of a?
It was comical.
This is a little bit of a 5-head mood from Brian Dable picking up for the Jets game.
Maybe. It could be something.
He knows his role against the Jets team, and like,
oh my god, yeah, we just need someone to catch the ball, dude.
No, I don't even need him to run. I don't even need him to run it back. Just catch it.
Just catch it. That's all we want. We were on the same page with that. Just catch the ball. Yeah. Secure the ball.
I mean, we're talking about the last 2 seasons where we haven't been running with, any punt returner. I mean, last year we had Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, did Wandale bring back a couple of those punts?
He might have. Eric Gray, we tried out this year. It was not happening.
I mean, Eric Gray is a rookie backup tight end, running back.
Yeah.
And what is he going to do returning the football? I mean, like, this is not.
It wasn't happening. Yeah. So I'm happy we went out.
Really
we signed
not
a punt return guy because we needed that. Special teams, the penalties, and securing the ball has been abysmal. So like that pickup. Hopefully the Giants can fix some of those issues.
Yeah. So if we're coming from special teams, we're talking about the defenses, which I'm way more excited about. I think this is going to be a low scoring game just based on the defenses that are coming. Jets better than Giants, without a doubt. You can't say. Giants are hot, right?
Yeah, last 2 games.
Top 10 and lowest pass percentage in the league. They're number 6 in pass attempts per league, so people aren't even trying it on them. Very disciplined in their approach. They're the least penalized defense, the top 10 least penalized defense in the league. they're 13% on third down conversion, which is great
That's
against
amazing. That's a really good
against
stat.
a,
Yeah.
pretty bad Jets third down conversion team. I don't know if I put the stat up there,
Yeah,
but
it's in there. Yeah, the Jets were worst in the league in third down conversion. So,
and we're seeing a,
yeah.
defense who has 13. I mean, that also comes with scheme. Wink Martindale has been doing a great job, especially last week as showing his cards and like with the heavy blitz against Sam Howell was not really that great
What did we
against
have?
the
5
rush.
sacks last week?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
matched our what was our season
our
total up to
season
that
total,
point.
yeah.
So that's awesome. Seeing the Giants, seeing Kayvon, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams just wreak havoc. Even a safety sack, which is right up. That's what Wink Martindale loves to do.
Yeah,
You give that
he
guy a
through
fast
he threw
safety.
Xavier McKinney right through
Pinnock was
that.
the sack
Oh,
that
was
I
it
saw. It was
Pinnock? Oh,
Pinnock, yeah.
I thought they had 2
No,
of them.
Pinnock right through that, right around the corner. I mean, before Sam Howell could even take that third step, Pinnock had him on the ground. So
Yeah, that's a Wink
that was awesome. And
that's
that's what Wink does. That's what you
yeah.
remember seeing him do in his peak Baltimore years. And last year we saw a glimpse of it with Jordan Love and McKinney. So I'd love to see Wink get back to that
And,
and bring the
with his
safeties.
scheme, I mean, you don't really know if he's gonna send the house or if he's dropping them back, and
Yeah.
that gives the
Yeah.
opportunity to these linebackers, who I'm gonna talk about right
It's
here.
tough too because I feel like in this day and age, Nico, like you got red zone out there, you got fantasy, and everyone loves offense, offense, offense. I mean, it's all you hear about is Mahomes and Allen and all these offensive superstars. But there's something to be said about a well-coached defensive team.
I mean, we
It
saw
takes a lot of talent, especially with the way that they call penalties in today's NFL. You can't touch. I mean, if the hand slips up at all, that's illegal hands to the face. If you touch a wide receiver at all, I mean, you bump the guy, you blow on the guy, it's a 15-yard penalty.
yeah, and
So
you know what
to
I
be a well-coached defensive team is very tough in today's NFL. So respect to both teams. I'm excited to see it.
no, what I really have a problem with when we talk about penalty wise is those those crossing routes coming straight in the middle of the field. And like, so they're set pick plays, obviously,
Yes, yes.
for the corners and for the linebackers. They're set pick plays to make a wide receiver open. The only thing is, I keep recalling last year the Giants were running these set pick plays and they kept on getting called for
Offensive PI?
for offensive PI. So, and then last week I saw people performing the same things, and I feel like it's just up to the referees to decide whether it's not, a
Yeah. So
it's all about the positioning of the run
you
of the
really,
wide
yeah,
receiver
and
at
you
the
have to
pick.
really be careful too after 5 yards down the field. If you're in 5 yards, I saw one run to perfection last week. I forget what team it was, but the tight end and the wide receiver lined up. Tight end cuts across early, takes out the cornerback. Short third down conversion worked every time. So
You just have to be careful
yeah.
on the same time they're doing it. If they're crossing at the same time, it can lead to some offensive PI in that way. But
Mhm.
talking about scheme and Wink Martindale, he loves his linebackers, and he got his linebackers this year. Bobby Okereke, Isaiah Simmons, we haven't been seeing much of, but Micah McFadden coming out this
Second
season.
year guy, right out of
Second year, yeah,
Indiana.
we had
Yeah.
him last year. Coming out this season and absolutely proving that him and Okereke can be the best linebacker duo in the league. I mean, 2 games really. These
Yeah, the
two,
stats are
yeah,
nice.
2-3 games we're basing off of. The Jets numbers blow this out of the water because their linebackers have been performing way better this season in the whole stretch of the season. But the last 2 weeks, I'll give it to the Giants linebackers right here. Mike McFadden, Bobby Okereke. 2 interceptions combined, 8 pass defenses, 10 tackles for loss, 65 total tackles. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the last
That's
3
a huge
weeks.
upgrade over last year. Last year, linebacker was the weakest position for this Giants defense. So yeah,
Against
Nico, you couldn't have
against the
said it
Bills,
better.
we did
Yeah.
lose that game, but that's just poor offensive management. I mean, Okereke and McFadden had a game.
Yeah.
They had a
Really
game.
strong
I feel like
performances
every
usually
single
from those
play,
guys.
tackle for loss, Bobby Okereke, tackle for, short yardages, he's always in the mix. He breaks through that gap. He's always there,
Yeah.
especially, in the blitzes. I mean, it works out, and I think it's just really starting to show
And
now.
when the linebackers do their job like they're supposed to, I think it makes everyone else's lives on the field a little bit easier. They stop those running backs from reaching the second level, allow the corners and the safeties to pay a little more attention to the pass defense, and then you just say, "Hey Dexter, hey Kayvon, just go crazy on that line. We got your back."
I
It's
do,
awesome. It's been fun to
we saw it
watch.
last week, and that's something I would like. I didn't bring it up in the notes, but I definitely want to talk about. Last week, we finally got to see a little bit Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams getting to the quarterback, putting
Yeah,
on
about
some
time.
pressure. I mean, about time. They, they don't. The Commanders don't have a slouchy run game either, and we kind of made it look minuscule at some points. I mean, Brian Robinson is a dog,
Yeah, he's been having a good year, and we shut him down.
and we really shut the run game down and the pass game
Yeah,
down.
Sam Howell
We
was
had a
getting
really good
sacked all
game,
game.
7 points. I mean, if the Giants can emulate some some of their defense that they've been doing last week and the week before, I mean, they could shut down this offense. And even
Mhm.
on the other side, which we'll talk about, like the Jets linebacker duo, I'll talk about it right now.
Yeah, get into it.
Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley, they might be the best linebacker duo in the league. In the
They're
league.
up there for
I mean,
sure.
60 total tackles for Quincy Williams. He has 60 total tackles, 2 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss by himself. CJ
That's so
Mosley,
impressive, yeah.
59 total tackles and 3 tackles for loss. I mean, they're doubling the number the Giants linebackers have
Mhm.
because they've been performing throughout the entire season. I mean, I'll give the Giants linebacker duo some credit. You know, they did take a little bit to mold, and I do think they're playing better now. But oh my god,
Yeah,
their
there's no
linebacker
dispute. And
duo
you
is
know what's funny about Quincy Williams was like first game of the season, he had a really good game against the Bills to open the season, and all you were hearing about was Quinnen Williams' brother, Quinnen Williams' brother, right? This and that. Quincy has made a name for himself this season, man. You know what I mean?
are
Like
they
he
actually
is no
brothers?
scrub. He's not on anyone's team because of any favors because of a superstar brother. That guy can play some defense, man. He is so quick. He's over the field. Reminds me a lot of that guy Devin White in Tampa Bay. We'll get to him later if we have time for Thursday night football preview. But yeah, two very strong linebacker groups. The Jets. I mean, we talked about this. I made this point last week. I mean, when the Jets go up against good quarterbacks, you could have said it was a coincidence early on, but now it's undisputable. Now they've played Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes. All three of those quarterbacks have their worst games of the season against the Jets. Not a coincidence, folks. That's the Jets defense showing up, and they know how to play good against
And
good
I did
quarterbacks.
listen, I am rarely wrong. Rarely. You know, I'm kinda always right.
This guy's so humble.
95% of the time I'm right. But I will admit defeat on this one. Last week I did, when making the bet, I mean, I think we both realized everyone in the world kinda realized, like, the Jets are not beating the Eagles, and they did. And their defense showed out, and they made Jalen Hurts look weak, and you know, they made Patrick Mahomes look weak, although they still lost.
Yeah.
But I mean, 4th best red zone defense in the league, 5th in interceptions, 2nd in takeaways.
Oh, they take the ball away. They are forcing turnovers left and right. If you make one mistake, it's going the other way.
They are playing, and I give the Giants a little credit here where they can use their scheme. The Jets are doing this against gunslingers. I mean, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, you see um, Patrick Mahomes too.
Hmm.
These guys throw the ball downfield. The Giants don't. The Giants don't throw the ball downfield. If you think they're going to throw the ball downfield like they did against Washington, they're not. I mean, Sauce Gardner in that backfield. You have the 2 linebackers out there that cause interceptions. I don't think that they're going to throw the ball downfield. They're going to use a lot of checkdowns. They're going to use a
Okay.
lot of plays that are short, below the stick, before the sticks, and try to get plays. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of Wandale, a lot of maybe Paris Campbell out here, just to
No, we'll see what happens. I
try to
really don't
get
know
a
what to
little bit
expect.
of. I would
I don't
like
know
to see
what to
the
expect
Jets
because
number
I feel like Tyrod, the offensive line has been playing better for Tyrod. Gives Tyrod a chance to stand in the pocket, get some
and
throws off,
especially
and it looks like
if
he's
you get
taking some
support with
chances that Daniel Jones
Andrew,
doesn't take.
yeah, if you get support with Andrew Thomas and JMS,
Yeah,
that's a huge. They give him time in the pocket
yeah,
just to look downfield and then hit checkdowns. But I don't think that they're going to be seeing a lot of downfield plays,
yeah. We'll
especially for the
see.
Giants.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, all the stats tell you this game's going to be a defensive battle.
I mean, I have a couple questions, like for you specifically, like what offense is better fit to survive for the pressure?
That's so tough
Because
because
we're looking. I mean, the Giants' offensive line is terrible, but the Jets' offensive line is certainly not good either.
mhm. It's tough for
And
me. It's
especially
tough for me. Yeah.
with a more healthy Giants offensive line, I have to say I think the Giants have a better offense with their healthy players, and they definitely have better skill players, more skilled players, I should say. The Jets, Brees Hall,
Garrett
Garrett
Wilson.
Wilson, right?
Those guys are so good, but they're young.
They're super young, right?
Okay.
And we didn't even talk about it, which I really want to emphasize. I want to talk about Deontay Banks, but um, we see them. They have Brees Hall. But the rest of their wide receiver and their running backs haven't really been
It's weak. No,
performing.
it's weak. I'm not going to argue it there. It's
The
weak there.
Giants, I believe, have better
You're forgetting something though. Go ahead.
skill talent,
Okay.
and I take that up with Saquon Barkley, Darren Waller.
But after that, it's a big drop off. Same thing with the Jets.
Yeah,
they
but
got Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall up here. We got Saquon and Darren Waller up here. And then after that, who do you throw the ball to? Who gets the ball?
I would put Wandale and I would put Jalen Hyatt in higher echelon than Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard. Like, I mean,
okay,
that's
okay.
what we're
I'm not
going
to argue with you too much there, but there's one thing you're forgetting, Nico. There's one very important thing that you're forgetting. The Jets are coming off a bye week. The Giants had to prepare for the Commanders for a week.
We definitely need to talk about. Which
we need to talk about how the Jets.
Let's talk about the bye week.
Game planning for the Giants for 2 weeks.
No, let's talk. Game planning. Where are they game planning, John? We got Zach Wilson, who needs to work on his offensive game during the bye week, taking his new girlfriend, and going back home to Utah.
Get a little rest and relaxation.
Get a little rest and relaxation. How about this?
It's not against the law.
I didn't say it was against the law, but you can't say they've been preparing 2 weeks because when did Zach Wilson come back? 2 days ago? Zach Wilson's up in Utah with his girlfriend trying to meet the family when he's got to prepare against New York Giants versus New York Jets in MetLife in the middle of the season at a turning point of the season. Tell me about that.
I think you're blowing that out of proportion, dude. It is not uncommon at all for players to go home, visit their family, get their minds right on the off week.
Not this week. Not when you're a backup quarterback.
Like it's the Super Bowl. I mean, it is a big game. I have had this one.
Not when you're a backup. Not when you're a backup quarterback, especially coming in the season where last season you lost the locker room.
What did you wanted him to sleep at the facility? What do you want from this guy?
Forget about sleep at the facility. I want you to work on what you're doing. You're the worst red zone offense. You're terrible on third down. You can't throw the ball unless it's to Garrett Wilson. Why are you in Utah celebrating, whatever they do in Utah and the BYU state? How about you go and practice your game and get ready for this Giants defense? Because if the Giants come out and perform against the Jets, this flips the script on their season.
Yeah, no, it could very well flip the script around. I was pretty inspired by that win last week. It was fun to see. It just feels like we always kind of own the Commanders. But, dude, I think you're laying into Zach Wilson a little too harsh there. It is not uncommon at all for players.
I didn't say it was uncommon.
Go home,
I didn't say it was uncommon.
Get some rest.
But if you think, listen, coming from his perspective, if you think that, hey, put yourself in Zach Wilson's shoes. You are now the backup, right? Aaron Rodgers is the starter. Aaron Rodgers goes out. You're the starter now. Last season, you were the starter, and they picked up Aaron Rodgers because how terrible you can facilitate an offense. How terrible you can facilitate an offense, right?
Okay.
You lost the locker room last year to Mike White, who's a backup in Miami now, by the way. You lost it to him. They lost it, right? The Jets last season were wearing T-shirts saying Mike White, and you're celebrating a backup when your starter is supposed to be the guy. They drafted him to be the guy, and you're celebrating Mike White. He doesn't have a full grasp on this offense. He still does not have a full grasp on this offense, nor I bet he has a full grasp on the locker room. And your teammates looking at you going to Utah for a little family reunion with the new girlfriend. Get out of here, Zach Wilson.
After just beating the Eagles, the defending NFC champion.
How about this?
Eagles.
Okay.
Big
don't
win.
Don't go in over your head. If Zach Wilson comes out and throws 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions, and the Giants win, this is reliant on Zach Wilson going to Utah. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. If he loses this locker room again, I can't even state it anymore. I mean, we'll go back to the Jets receiving core. Garrett Wilson is obviously number 1. I mean, number 2 is Tyler Conklin with almost 100 to 150 less yards than him. Alan Lazard after that. Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook. I mean, 2 running backs are in the conversation for the top receiving yards on the team. Where do you see that? The Giants drop off is way less than the Jets drop off, in my opinion. I mean, they got rid of Mecole Hardman, right?
Yeah.
Who they were barely using,
barely
touching the ball, and the Chiefs, I guarantee you, will do him right. But the Giants, I believe, are with I would say the Jets defense is better than the Giants defense. The Giants offense is better than the Jets offense.
What do you think this game's going to come down to special teams? Graham Gano, Gunnar Olszewski? What's this game going to come down to, Nico?
It's going to come down to how you're going to play, who's going to be more locked down.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at it 2 different ways. Who's going to be more locked down and what defense can muster up anything?
What offense can muster up anything?
What offense can muster up anything?
And I think if you turn the ball over in this game, you're dead. These are 2 defenses that will capitalize on mistakes. You got to take care of the ball. I don't want to see any fumbles
especially
from the
within your own
Giants. I
50-yard
don't
line.
want to see any interceptions. Tyrod, it's going to be tough. I mean, that's a lot to ask of Tyrod, but Tyrod, be smart with the ball. I'm excited about this game, dude. I'm really pumped.
I'm so pumped.
What is this,
Let's get a little blue up in here.
Is this a 1 o'clock game?
This is a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. Let's get a little blue up in
Metlife Stadium. Can you keep it on the green, actually, for me? Yeah. It's
Yo,
going to be green.
Did you just hear that, James?
If the Giants win 2 in a row, it's going to be green up in here.
This kid just said put on
all right,
green.
We got a little bit of time left. You covered the Jets and the Giants.
I don't like the blue.
It's going to come down. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a really good game. Even if it's a low-scoring game, folks, look at the defenses. Look how special they are. I think you can still enjoy that. If you just enjoy only offensive football, I don't really think you're a football fan. You're a touchdown fan, and that's fair. That is some people. I get it. It's exciting, but offense and defense, you got to have a complete game.
I got one more question for you.
Go ahead.
So this kind of is a, take off of the last question. What offensive line is going to be able to hold up more?
Well, a lot of question marks there, Nico. If Andrew Thomas
let's just say as a full healthy Giants offensive line coming back with Andrew Thomas plays, you got Andrew Thomas at the left tackle, Justin Pugh at the left guard, JMS center, right guard. I don't even know who they're running.
Yeah,
probably Glowinski, and then at right tackle Evan Neal, or his backup, which was last week, was I'm trying to remember.
McKethan? No.
He played better than Evan Neal.
Yeah, dude. It was weird. We had a lot of injuries. Evan Neal's playing this week? No injury designation?
No injury designation for Evan Neal. They still have him on as unspecified on the injury report as an ankle, but no word. I don't think no word on him practicing. I can check right now. What do you think offensive line is going to hold up better? Which one?
I don't know much about the Jets offensive line. I know that Dwayne Brown could return this week. He was, I think, the right tackle, the left tackle that they picked up. Moved Mekhi to the right side. I don't know, man. I mean,
Zach Wilson hasn't been getting. He has been getting sacked. 9% of the time he is getting sacked. That's 28th in the league. That is directly on the offensive line. And I'm trying to find.
Mekhi Becton's look improved this year, though. When he's healthy, he's looked better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a guy that a lot of people were ready to write off. And then all of a sudden this year, he starts playing well. Jets win their first game. Jets beat the Eagles. So I don't know. I really don't know, dude. It's so hard to put a grade on offensive linemen. I think this game comes down to whatever quarterback can move the ball down the field. I think both defenses know the run games are better than the passing games. They're going to key on that if you're smart. And if you're the Giants, Brian Dable, you've drawn up some creative plays to get Darren Waller open, to get Wandell open, and take some shots to Jalen. On the other hand, if you're Nathaniel Hackett over from the Jets, you know that the Giants are going to key on Breece Hall. Okay, and then you got Deonte Banks, who's looking like he could be Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's playing out of his mind, this kid. The Banks closed on Sunday, baby. I love it.
When listen, he's without a doubt, if he keeps playing like this, without a doubt, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, so if you're Nathaniel Hackett, you got to go after probably Cordell Flott, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Deontay Banks,
Darnay Holmes.
They're putting Deontay Banks on Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to have to do. The Giants are definitely going to have to do that. Lowest yards are allowed per rookies, at the lowest in rookies, 4.5, and top 5 in the league.
Yeah, man.
In all corners, 4.5 yards a reception.
Interception against Washington, which was an awesome play.
Yeah,
if you go back and watch the highlights there, he baited Sam Howell into making that throw.
Yeah, he
boom over the top.
He
Banks closed on Sunday, baby.
He took the step up and then backed up a little bit, and right over the head. What a great catch too. We'll talk about Kayvon's catch, who just went right through his hands, but Deontay Banks out there over the head catch.
Yeah, man,
great interception
Good
for
stuff,
him.
Good
I
stuff.
love.
I'm so excited for this
I love
game.
players getting awarded for that.
I don't want to go back on my. I'm gonna root for the Giants to win, Nico. I am, because I'm a Giants fan.
Evan Neal was limited in practice on Wednesday.
I don't really care that much, honestly. I don't care.
I don't care if he plays either. I honestly would like that he didn't play.
Final points I want to make on this game, and then I'll let you give your final point. Final point I want to make on this game is I'm a Giants fan. I'm going to root for the Giants, but I'm not going back on my prediction that I made 2 weeks ago or the bet that I made with Nico. I think the Jets win this game, and then I think they win one more, I think, against the Raiders or the Chargers, and I think they have 3 in a row, and I think Nico's going to have to wear a Jets jersey. With that being said, I'm going to root for the Giants. I'm a Giants fan. I hope Tyrod can play well. I hope Saquon goes off, but I think the Jets are going to win. Nico, final thoughts on that game, and then we'll give you a quick Thursday Night Football rundown.
I think final thoughts is Big Blue. My Giants, all right? If you have any hope of making it to the playoffs, being in the conversation of the playoffs, being in the talks, or trying to scrap
Just staying
up,
alive.
just
yeah.
staying alive, trying to scrap up something from the season that's been terrible so far. You have to go out and make a showing. You got to beat the Jets. You have to. The defense has to play perfect. The offense has to play perfect because otherwise you're not beating this team.
And this is not a friendly rivalry. This is not two teams. Oh, we both play in New York. Let's be friends. No, they do not like each other.
No. The
This
Jets.
game should happen more than once every 4 years, man. This is going to be a good game.
This is going to be a great game. It's
Battle
going
for
to be
Metlife.
low scoring. It's going to be great defense. I think the Giants have more heart. I think the Giants have more grit than them. We saw that last season. Let them show it. If we perform, this is a turning point for the Giants. And 3-5 looks a lot better than 2-6. And for the Jets, 3-4 coming up. We'll talk about, actually, I want to bring this up, which I haven't before. Strength of schedule for the rest of the season. Giants are number 1 in strength of schedule for the rest of the season. Jets are number 2.
Like, as the games get harder or easier?
No, as schedule goes, we have the hardest schedule remaining. They have the second hardest schedule remaining.
Jesus, of course we do.
So this game is important for both
I thought the
teams.
heart of the stretch of our schedule was done, man. We had the Bills, the Dolphins.
We got to play the Eagles. We got to play the Cowboys again.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, that's about that for that. For the Giants Jets Thursday Night Football tonight. We'll keep it brief.
Oh wait, whoa.
Spit it out. Let's go. I'm trying to move
on. Scoring predictions for Sunday at 1:00.
I don't know. I didn't think of any.
I got Giants 17, Jets 14. We went off a field goal.
I think the Jets win 14-7.
Okay.
All right. Thursday Night Football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-3 on the season. 1 game back of first place in the NFC South. Interconference game here. We got them going to play the Buffalo Bills, who are 4-3. Key injuries for this game. Dawson Knox is out for the Bills. Safety's injured for the Buccaneers, but I didn't write it down. I forgot who it was. I don't think it's anyone super important. Baker Mayfield and Chris Godwin were dealing with injuries this week, but both were full practice participants yesterday, so I expect them both to play. Some key storylines for this game. The Bills have been struggling recently. They lost Matt Milano to injury and Tre'Davious White, and they've looked pretty weak since then. They lost 2 of their last 3 games. Really, really, really bad, ugly loss to the Patriots last week. No one expected the Patriots to win that game. The Bills got off to a slow start.
And they've been struggling recently.
Let the Patriots run all over them. And then lost to the Jaguars 2 weeks ago. They beat the Giants by 5. By no means a dominant win. Giants could have won that game in the final second. They didn't, but whatever. Josh Allen, not the Josh Allen that we've gotten used to know, man. He's looked kind of weak over the last 3 games.
He's a bum.
Over the last 3 games, he's got 3 picks, and he's 73 of 111. Not terrible, but not really great either. But that's not all on Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs has looked like a stud wide receiver, but after Stephon Diggs, there's no one to throw the ball to. Gabe Davis has been regressing, dropping passes left and right. I know Bills fans are getting pretty fed up with that guy. I thought James Cook did a good job last week. He was catching balls, caught a touchdown pass. But then every time he gets down to the red zone, they take him out for the stronger running backs, and those guys don't look any better. So, I don't know. I think the Bills need to switch up their red zone approach. You watched any of those games?
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I think that, and we got to get going soon, but I really think that Josh Allen is a little bit, it's getting to his head a little bit. I mean, he's always had struggles with interceptions so far, but I mean, the Bills' offense really isn't helping him out. I mean, Stephon Diggs, it looks like him and Stephon Diggs are kind of struggling with their connection recently, and it looks like they're sloppy, especially in the red zone, like we were talking about, especially against the Giants. Yeah, and losing to the Patriots, who kind of aren't really that great of a team. Mac Jones kind of performed, which we haven't really
that great of a dude. They were bad. They were playing terrible. They got beat up by the Saints so bad.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, they started off okay. I mean, they did beat the Jets, but I don't know. I mean, I see this Buccaneers game coming down to
it's gonna be a defensive game. I think. I mean, Buccaneers still got a strong.
It's gonna be a defensive game, but you can't ever count out Josh Allen. I mean,
one stat I want to throw at you for the Buccaneers, and then I'll let you finish it up. Buccaneers, the most points that they've allowed this season through 7 games or 6 games is 25 points. That's the most they've allowed, and that came to the reigning NFC champion Eagles. Everyone else other than that has been held to under 25 points. So clearly the defense is doing their job. Baker Mayfield started off kind of strong, a little bit weaker of recently, but they have no run game. They have literally no run game. Second lowest in the league. Only one rushing touchdown. So that's their weakness.
And I feel it.
Mike Evans and Godwin are still good, but yeah.
I mean, they have Baker Mayfield thrown to them. I feel like the Bills have the advantage here. I mean, no matter how bad they've been playing and how, destructive their offense have been, I mean, you got to beat the Buccaneers.
Yeah, man.
You got to beat the Buccaneers, and you have to
But
do better than what
I
you've been
will
doing.
say,
And I
dude,
do think they bounce
Josh
back.
Allen and Baker Mayfield have been two guys that play their best when their backs are against the wall.
Yeah.
Baker, everyone counted him out. He got booted out of the Cleveland, goes to the Rams, wins a game there, and is with being on the team less than a week. Comes to the Buccaneers, wins his first game against the Vikings, a game no one picked the Buccaneers to win. So these are both quarterbacks that play better with a chip on their shoulder. Vegas is having the Bills 8.5-point favorites. I think that's a little too high.
If the Bills can play like they're supposed to play, 8.5 isn't. But how they're playing right now it's a pretty large margin.
They have the over-under at 43.5, so they think it's going to be a low-scoring game. They think it's going to be a defensive matchup.
I would definitely take the under on that one. I mean, 43.5. This game might not break 40.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I mean, it might not break 35. I mean, if this team can go, this game can easily be 14-7 Bills or 14-7 Buccaneers, and that could be the end of it.
That was the last. I mean, you guys remember the last primetime game in Buffalo was 2 weeks ago. Giants, Bills. What was it? 14 to.
It was 17-13, I believe, or something like that.
17-13. We lost by 5. I thought it was 14-9.
It might have been 14-9. Yes.
Yeah, 14-9. Yeah. But so look at the last primetime game in Buffalo. Low scoring defensive matchup. We got to get going. I think Bills win 23-20. I think it does go over.
I got Bills also.
Oh no, it'll be 43 on the dot. Sorry.
43 on the dot. Yeah, so you got the under there. I got the under probably too. I mean, I go Bills 20, maybe Buccaneers 14. Okay. 2014 Bills.
Touchdowns, first touchdown score?
James Cook.
James Cook as well. Yeah. I got James Cook. I was leaning towards Mike Evans, but I think the Bills get the first points. James Cook, first touchdown score. He could catch it. He could run it.
Yeah, James Cook is a dog. I think they have the running back advantage. So
thanks for tuning in, folks. I mean, this weekend's going to be electric. Make sure you watch that Giants-Jets game.
Back in the New York.
We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.